So, Congresswoman, let's start with this week in headlines in Washington. I actually traveled yesterday from Houston, and so firsthand saw the real life effects of the politics of the time, the policy of the time. Can you share a little bit with our viewers about the latest that is happening in regards to the partial shutdown, the president signing the orders to pay TSA agents? It's a lot going on, so if you could break that down for us, that'd be great.
Sure. This week, Donald Trump announced that he had decided that he had the authority to pay the TSA officers. They will be paid on Monday, including back pay. And I think that that's consistent with what we've been saying all along, that the big ugly bill, they gave themselves $10 billion in a slush fund, and that's the resources that Donald Trump is using to pay these TSA officers. It's a shame that he's asked those families to sacrifice for these many weeks, about 6 weeks, while he refused to come to the negotiating table to initiate much needed ICE reforms. I think it's important for all of us to remember what this fight's really about, and that is about making sure that we don't have masked, armed ICE and other federal immigration officers terrorizing our communities and roaming our streets and murdering US citizens in violation of our constitutional rights. I hope that during this congressional district work period, the White House and the Republicans in charge can reflect on their role in creating this crisis, and hopefully they can return to the negotiating table where Democrats are ready to make a deal to fund the government and to keep our communities safe.
It was alarming. I travel like you every week, multiple times a week, to see, the ICE agents, officers, lining the corridors of the airports. And so we certainly have multiple crises happening at the same time, including, again, everyday living, the rise of gas prices to increasing grocery costs. We talk about gas prices. I know we're getting ready to go into the spring. We both live in places that spring takes a long time to come. And so gas also means you might have gas heat. And so I've definitely seen an increase both in my home and in my car. And families are at stretched. What should people understand about what is driving the economic pressures, and what relief can they realistically expect from this moment?
Well, Donald Trump has initiated a really failure of economic policies. A year ago, he announced Liberation Day. I don't know if you remember that, but that's when he announced his tariff policy that have been a resounding failure. They've only resulted in rising costs for working families in this country. Many of those tariffs got struck down by the Supreme Court, but Donald Trump was undeterred and is using other technical loopholes to keep costs high on American consumers. Then he decided to take us to war with Iran, and that's driving up gas prices right now. So, working families are really feeling this 1-2 punch of tariffs, high gas costs, and rising inflation because of the failed economic policies of Donald Trump. And the Republicans in charge, of course, are completely loyal to Trump, willing to do whatever he asks of them, and have really sold working and middle class people away in order to gain favor with
Yeah,
the
so you speak
president.
about the conflict with Iran. How are you thinking about the role Congress has in this moment as he's declared this president's war, president's conflict? And what should we, as the public, be paying attention to as this evolves, both just eye on Washington, but also eye on our day to day lives?
Well, the president doesn't have the power to declare war. Let's just remember that. As outlined in Article 1 of the Constitution, the power to declare war lies with the Congress, and the Congress has not done so. And so this conflict is, you know, he needs to wrap it up. Nobody supports this war. Like, we don't want this. There's, hundreds of troops who've been injured. Several troops have died. We're seeing really significant economic repercussions here at home. And, I'm not convinced it's making our country more safe. And now the president has come to the Congress asking for $200 billion for this war, when they said that they didn't have enough money for healthcare. Like, what are we talking about? I just think, like, completely ridiculous. I am not going to be supporting the funding. We've had a number of war powers resolutions that come forward that basically says that the president has to halt hostilities until the Congress formally authorizes the war. I support those types of resolutions. And, I go to these classified briefings. You learn more reading the New York Times than you do from these Trump administration officials who will just straight up lie. They'll lie and filibuster and try to mislead members of Congress because the truth is a shaky ground for them to stand on. And it's really a shame that they're willing to put our troops in harm's way without having clear, transparent justification for the strategy or the goals that they are espousing with respect to this
Yeah,
conflict.
so you speak once again about domestics, like policy, as we are looking to send money, for conflict that nobody wants, as you've mentioned. You have been a champion on healthcare. Oftentimes, when I talk
Mhm.
about Lauren Underwood and when I first met you in our office those many years ago, and that largest class of Black women elected and serving in 2018, what was unique about that class of five was kind of your background and your background as a nurse, a public health professional, and you really have navigated both in Republican climate, Democratic climate, the ability to talk about healthcare. We are approaching in April as we leave March, Women's History Month. We're walking into Black Maternal Health Week, April 11th through 17th, which you have championed, which was founded to build
Yes.
awareness and activism in community around the lived experiences of Black mothers and birthing people. Why is that week so important?
Well, for generations, for decades, Black women have been denied the high quality care that we need. And as a result, we've been more likely to die of preventable pregnancy related complications. And the disparities that Black moms experience have driven up America's maternal mortality rate or maternal death rate. And now we're leading the industrialized world. So, Black Maternal Health Week is a time for all of us around the country to come together to really reflect on the progress that's made, the challenges that we've encountered, and to recommit ourselves to advancing solutions, comprehensive solutions like the Momnibus that would save moms' lives.
You, Senator Cory Booker, Congresswoman Alma Adams out of North Carolina have reintroduced the Momnibus, a comprehensive, I
Yes.
love saying a Momnibus, a comprehensive package of legislation to address the maternal health crisis. Can you break down for us what this legislation does and why it is so urgent?
Yes, so the Momnibus is a comprehensive package of 14 evidence based bills designed to address every clinical and non clinical factor contributing to America's maternal health crisis and the disparities that we see leading, to Black moms being more likely to die in this country. And so we're addressing everything from the leading cause of maternal death in this country, which is when you combine suicide and overdose. We have a bill that addresses that, the Moms Matter Act. We have a bill that addresses social determinants like housing and transportation and healthy environments. We're trying to make sure that moms aren't dying because they lack access to nutritious foods. We are really looking at the data, looking at the evidence, talking to providers, and then we've translated their recommendations and the findings and the interventions that have been proven to work. We are translating that into legislation. Many of our bills are bipartisan. And we are working hard to get the full package signed into law as soon as possible because since the Omnibus was first introduced in 2020, we've seen COVID, we've seen Dobbs, and now with these awful Medicaid cuts, the Trump Medicaid cuts, right, we're seeing maternal death rates continue to rise. And there's an urgency about this work that I feel. And I know that our communities need these resources now more than ever.
So, as we close our time with you here at Sunday Brunch, one of the things that I've been particularly interested in, I've not been good at it. It's the first quarter. You know how you have like all your vision, all the things you're going to do in the beginning of the year, and you hit
Okay.
March and you go, did you do any of it? But I'm particularly interested in like hearing about the whole person. Like People know who we are. So,
Okay.
like Laura Underwood, what do you do to center joy? What you reading? What you listening to? What you rocking with?
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I'm not so good with the leisure reading. I had a stack of library books that I checked out last summer because one of my girlfriends recommended a whole bunch of books for me to read over the August recess, and I made it through like half, and then I've been renewing them ever since. And then the library said, no more renewals. So I had to return them unread. But the last one that I was in the midst of reading was Abby Phillips' biography of Reverend Jackson, which was very good. And someone else had it on hold, so I had to return it. But I'm gonna be checking that out again. I like to garden. I love gardening, but because I travel so much, my plants die. So I have a membership in a local farm. It's called like a CSA, community supported agriculture. And so now that it's getting warm, it's almost time to go to the farm and start getting my weekly vegetables. And I like to, make sure that my yard is the best yard on
Oh,
the
you are
block.
trying to be the greenest
My
yard.
neighbors,
Mhm.
my neighbors just don't. They just didn't invest in it. And I'm like, guys, like get yourself a little hydrangea. Have a little peony situation, something cute. So I like that, and I like baking.
Oh, I like to bake.
So just like
And
little
so do
domestic
I.
things.
I like to bake. I don't bake that much. It's the thing that I carry with my grandmother. She taught me how to bake.
Mhm.
Hydrangeas, y'all, for people who kill plants like I do, it's hard to kill a hydrangea.
It's very difficult, and they come back every year. So all you got
True.
to do is just get in the ground, put a little Miracle Grow or a little organic something on it at the beginning of the season, and then let it do its
And it grows
thing.
bigger each year, which is what I love is it could be a hard winter. It most likely is going to be bigger. And that is the energy that
Yes.
you bring to Washington. Thank you, Lauren Underwood, for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thank you for being a Black woman who leads.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.